Hi everyone and welcome to Click to Learn with Polite. So now guys, I want us to cover this question 1 where they want us to simplify the following without the use of a calculator. So this is exponents. So we just have to apply the laws of exponents. So how can we do this? I'm just going to check the top part. I'm given 2 to the power 2p plus 2 minus 3 times 2 to the power minus 3 times 2 to the power 2p plus 2. So what I'm going to do is that I know that there is a law of exponent that says if you have a to the n multiplied by a to the power m, we can quickly write that as a to the n plus m. When the base are the same, we add the exponents. So now I'm just going to take the given terms from this, the terms are given in this form. I'm just going to reverse them and write it in that form. So now, if I write those terms in that form, we can say that we can quickly take the 2 to the power 2p plus 2. We can take this guy, write it 2 as 2 to the power 2p multiplied by what? By 2 to the power 2. When the base are the same, we add the exponent. So basically, I'm reversing that law. So this tells me that what I can do is that I can quickly write the first term as 2 to the power 2p multiplied by 2 to the power 2. Therefore, we minus 3. Okay, I can also write that 2 to the power 2p multiplied by 2 to the power 2. Right, so now I reversed every term on top. Now let's focus on the bottom part. Right, so on the bottom part, this is what I'm given. We have what? We have 4 to the power p. I'm just going to start with 4 to the power p. So I know that 4 to the power p, my aim is to change everything to be base 2 and base 3 only. So this tells me that the 4 to the power p, I need to write this thing as 2 to the power 2 because 2 to the power 2 is 4. Therefore, everything is raised to the power p if we multiply the exponent. This is another law of exponent that says if you have a to the n, everything to the power m, you just multiply the exponent. This is n times m. So I'm just going to say this is 2 to the power 2 multiplied by p, which is equal to 2 to the power 2p. So this tells me that the first part, the 4p, we can write the 4p as what? As 2 to the power 2p. So now I think everyone understand where is the 2 to the power 2p coming from. Then now I have plus 3 multiply. Now let's change the 4p plus 1. Okay, I just want us to change this part 4 to the power p plus 1. First thing first, let's change 4 and write it to base 2. Then everything is to the power p plus 1. We multiply the exponents now. So when you multiply the exponent, it's best to first say 2 times p is 2p. Therefore, 2 times 1 is p. 2 times 1 is 2, sorry. 2 times 1 is 2. But already we know what is 2p plus 2 equals to if we reverse this law of exponent. So we can write this as 2 to the power 2p multiplied by 2 to the power 2. So I'm just going to substitute the 4p plus 1. I'm just going to substitute the 4p plus 1. This one as 2 to the power 2p multiplied by 2 to the power 2. Right. So now we can go back on top and check if we have something in common. So we have terms that are the same, which is 2 to the power 2, but it's best if we only take out 2 to the power 2p. I'll explain why are we taking out 2 to the power 2p out as a common factor. Only this one, so that we can be left with what? I'll be left with 2 to the power 2 minus 3 times 1 times 2 to the power 2. So the reason we took the 2 to the power 2p out as a common factor is that I can see that I need to make sure that whatever that I take on top as a common factor, I should also have that on bottom so that the 2 can cancel. So on bottom, or I can also have the 2 to the power 2p out as a common factor. I'm left with 1 plus 3 times 1 times 2 to the power 2. Therefore, you can work this thing out. We know that these 2 will cancel. This, guys, I have this 2. This will cancel with that. Therefore, now we are only left with numbers on top and bottom. We don't have a variable. Now we eliminated p. Now we can write the top. If we can work the top part, we know that it is going to be 2 to the power 2 minus 3 times 2 to the power 2. We know that we can write this as what? At 4 minus 3 times 4 is 12. So it's going to be 4 minus 12 all over 1 plus 3 times 4 again is 12. So it's 1 plus 12. The top part will be minus 8 and the bottom part will give us as 13 because 1 plus 12 is 13. So this is your final answer. This is your final answer. So someone can maybe prefer to do a different method. Yes, there is a different method that you can use. Okay, let's quickly go to the number B of this question paper. They want you to solve for x where you have stats. So now to solve this one, this is solve for x. To solve for x, let us quickly rewrite the equation down. I have the root of x plus 2 plus 2x is equals to 0. So the aim is to make sure that whatever that you have inside of the square root, you put it on one side. So this tells me that we need to isolate the root x plus 2. We need to isolate this. Then we need to bring the 2x this side to change to be negative 2x. Right. So now that I have this thing, what you have to do is to square both sides. You square this side, okay? You square the other side. Why are we squaring both sides? Because we need to eliminate the square root, that square root. Let me explain how this eliminates the square root. If I have the square root of x to the power 2, this is equals to x. Why? Because remember, we can write the square root as 1 over 2. Everything is to the power 2, which is equals to x to the power 1 over 2 times 2, which gives us x to the power 1. So these two cancel that square root. So this is why we are squaring both sides, because now when we solve for x, we don't want to work with square root. So the first thing to do is to eliminate this part. Right, so the square root will cancel with the 2. This side you are left with x plus 2. It's equals to this side. If I have a multiplied by n to the power m, this will be a to the power m multiplied by n to the power m. So now this will be, we can write the negative 2x squared as negative 2 squared multiplied by x squared, which will give us what? 4x squared. So I'm just going to write this one as 4x squared. So now if I have something like this, I can quickly put this thing in standard form, in the quadratic form. So to put it in the quadratic form is best to bring the x and the 2 this side to be negative. So I can write this thing as x squared minus x minus 2 is equal to 0. So we can factorize this. So this tells us that we need to use the quadratic formula to factorize this problem. So if we use the quadratic formula, x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac and everything divided by 2a. So this is in the form of quadratic formula. It is in the form of ax squared plus bx. It is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So the value of a is 4, the value of b is minus 1, and the value of c is negative 2. We can just do what? We can just do direct substitution. We can substitute the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c on this equation. Right, let us quickly substitute the values of a, b, and c. So x, we can say x is equal to minus b plus or minus, where there's b, let us quickly substitute. Instead, we know b is what? We know that we have b as minus 1. So I'm just going to put this inside the bracket, minus 1 plus the square root of inside the bracket minus 1 squared minus 4 into where there's a, I need to put 4. Where there's c, we need to substitute 2. Therefore, everything is divided by 2 into a, and the value of a is given as 4. Therefore, if you work this thing out on your calculator, or if you work this thing out on your calculator, we know that first thing first, negative times negative gives us positive 1. So I'm just going to write x is equals to 1. Therefore, we have plus or minus the square root of inside the bracket 1 squared. It's 1 minus 1 squared, it's 1. Then we have 4 times 4. It's 4 times 4 is 16. Then 16 times 2 is 32, but the negative cancels. So basically we have 1 plus 32 inside there, the square root. Just to save time, can we just say this is 33? I'm just gonna write that as 33. So this is 3, everything is divided by 8. So if you punch this on the calculator for the positive and the negative, let's say you want to say x is equals to 1 minus the square root of 33 over 8, or you can say x is equals to 1 plus the square root of 33 over 8. And when you punch these two numbers, you should get your answer as, you just have to put this on your calculator, and then you should get your answer as x is equals to 0.8, or x is equals to what? X is equals to negative 0.6. Right, x is equals to 0.8 or x is equals to negative 0.6. So now remember, we are working with SATs. You need to check your answer. So when you check your answer, first thing first, on the original equation, where there's x, you put 0.8, you punch that on the calculator. Whatever that you get, you need to get your answer as what? As 0. So if the left hand side is not equal to the right hand side, this tells you that x must not be equal to that number. So I've already checked this on my side. I know that x must not be equal to 0.8, and x must be equals to the 0.6. This one is correct. So always make sure that you check your answer. Always make sure you check your answer.